Thank you, Natalie, and a very good afternoon to you, wherever and however you're listening to Talk Sport at the World Cup. So, is it all going to be all about him? Cristiano Ronaldo's already broken more records than a faulty vinyl factory, and he stands on the verge of yet another as Portugal set out on this Qatari adventure. Any goal whilst here will make him the first player ever to score at 5 World Cups. And as a man with very much a point to prove, after that Piers Morgan interview means he's now unattached as a player. You wouldn't bet against him to notch at this incredibly unique stadium. But Ghana have their own missions to accomplish, and first and foremost they want to be the first African nation to score at this tournament after Senegal, Morocco, Tunisia and Cameroon all drew blank so far, and Africa still awaits a World Cup semi-finalist. The Black Stars ranked at a lowly 61 by FIFA. Can they channel the spirit of the 2010 squad that came within an ace of the last 4? Andre Ayew was in that Ghana side. He remains in the squad for 2022, and he's already shook hands with his opposite number Cristiano Ronaldo, who also played that day. 301 caps and 140 goals between them on the international stage. The lineups: Portugal with Diogo Costa in goal, João Cancelo, Ruben Dias, Danilo and Rafael Guerreiro in a back 4, Ruben Neves flanked by Bernardo Silva and Otavio in midfield, Bruno Fernandes playing behind Cristiano Ronaldo and João Felix up front. For Ghana, Lawrence Atizigi is the goalkeeper, a back 3 of Alexander Daiku, Daniel Amate and Mo Salisu. Alidou Saidou and Baba Rahman are the wing backs. Salis Abdul Samad makes his debut for Ghana tonight. He's alongside Thomas Partey and Inaki Williams, Andre Ayew and Mohamed Kudus up front as we are underway at the 974 Stadium. Portugal in their traditional red shirts and socks and the green shorts. Ghana in all white. And Portugal will be kicking from left to right as we look towards the Ghana fans that are stationed at the goal to our right-hand side. And straight away the ball's picked up by Bernardo Silva, who guides it back to Ruben Dias. Square ball for Danilo, who started life as a defensive midfielder, now utilised more by Portugal as a centre-half these days. And back it goes to Diogo Costa, preferred in goal to Rui Patricio. Bernardo Silva comes into his own penalty area to collect a short pass from Costa. There's a high press already, Leanne Sanderson, from Ghana with Portugal at the ball.
Yeah, it's quite strange really. You don't really usually see Bernardo Silva pick it up in the 18-yard box, but yeah, it's definitely a high press at this moment in time. But Portugal have the players that can get out of these types of situations. You know, João Cancelo this year for Manchester City has been absolutely fantastic, and he was at Juventus when I was there, and I was quite surprised they allowed him to move. And I say allowed him, Danilo went over, you know, they did the reverse swap, but I just can't. He's been brilliant this year, he really has. So, and Dalot's also been really good for Manchester United this year, and he's on the bench because of a player like Cancelo in there.
Ronaldo gets his first touch, and then he fouls his man as he tried to get the ball. He took a heavy first touch and then fouled Rahman, and that's going to be a free kick for Ghana, right down underneath us as we look over the top of the technical areas. Fernando Santos and Ato Odo both stood there, hands in pockets at the edge of their technical areas, and it'll be a free kick that Rahman's going to leave for another defender to take, possibly Mo Salisu. It is indeed Salisu that's going to strike it from just over the halfway line for Ghana. Clips it up to the edge of the area. It's headed away by Diaz, but comes out to Rahman on this left-hand side, still on Chelsea's books after years of not playing for them. He's on loan at Reading at the moment. I know Leanne Sanderson's looking at me. I don't know why he's still on Chelsea's books either, given he's barely had a kick for him.
That happened a lot though. It reminded me of when Batshuayi was still on Chelsea's books. Obviously he scored the goal yesterday for Belgium, but they had a lot of players at one point. I think they had like 20 players out on loan, but that's the type of quality that Chelsea seem to have. But yeah, it's quite strange that, you know, he's still one of their players.
2 minutes gone, 0-0, and a little foul, little nibble from Rahman on Cancelo near the halfway line gives Portugal a free kick. And the ball's going to be sent downfield. Well, in fact, it's played backwards a square by Cancelo, back for Danilo. Our referee is Elfat Ismail of the USA, and he's got American assistants out there with him tonight as well. Danilo just puts his foot on the ball inside his own half. It's clear that Inaki Williams is the furthest player forward for Ghana. Kudus of Ajax is sitting a little deeper along with Andre Ayew, the captain. Danilo carries the ball up to halfway for Portugal. Nicks it infield to Ruben Neves of Wolves. Danilo again, looking to release Guerreiro down the left-hand side. gone beyond him to the byline, and Portugal win their first corner, do they? It has indeed gone behind for a corner kick away to our right hand side as Guerreiro forced the ball to be put behind. 0-0 on TalkSport.
Yeah, good pressure from Portugal. Guerreiro getting down that left-hand side, and they'll be looking to capitalise on this. Obviously, João Felix as well. We didn't really mention it before the game, but he has had minimal minutes this year at Atletico Madrid, and almost looks like he's going to move on from there. But he's a top player. They'll be yet to be determined if he's playing in behind Cristiano Ronaldo or if they're going to play as a two. But he's definitely threatening when he has the ball at his feet.
Bruno Fernandes going to take the corner. In fact, he's left it for Guerreiro to take it instead. Heads go up, cleared away to the edge of the area, fired back in by Otavio, but didn't really catch hold of it the way he would have wanted, and it dribbles harmlessly wide from the Ghanaian point of view, so that the Africans have a goal kick. 0-0.
Yeah, quite a strange corner really. Obviously it fell to Otavio in the end. It was kind of a half-hearted strike, but they didn't really have much movement in and around the 18-yard box then. It is the first corner, but you'd expect them to be looking for, you know, none other than Cristiano Ronaldo from set pieces with his height. You know, the hang time he gets in the air as well.
Ayew tries to hold the ball up just shy of the halfway line for Ghana, and they'd want to throw on the far side. Ghana's best World Cup, as I mentioned, that quarter-final. In 2010 they lost on penalties to Uruguay after Suarez' famous handball on the line and the red card, and Asamoah Gyan missing the spot kick that would have seen Ghana as Africa's first World Cup semi-finalist, but it was not to be. Portugal, meantime, their best World Cup was finishing fourth back in Germany 2006. We all remember them for the game against England, of course, and the Ronaldo wink.
Two games that you kind of remember exactly where you were when they happened. I remember Luis Suarez when he got sent off, and when Uruguay won, he didn't have a problem running back on the pitch to celebrate, did he? At the end. And obviously Cristiano Ronaldo and Wayne Rooney, the famous wink, is one of those ones where you know exactly where you were at that moment in time when it happened.
Portugal coming forward. Otavio making a strong run down the left-hand side, tries to nutmeg a couple of players, but they've done enough. Amate can clear the ball up to Kudus, who tries to turn 25 yards out, and he was immediately robbed by Neves, but the shot was blocked, and Kudus got lucky there for Ghana. 0-0.
Ruben Neves, I mean, I mentioned it before the game, but he's been absolutely brilliant this year for Wolves. He really has. He's a footballer that I think sometimes goes underneath the radar, and when you watch him live, you get a true understanding for his awareness, and he gets on the score sheet quite a lot. You know, for Wolves, he's always taking the free kicks. He's really good at set pieces, but he's really a main orchestrator. I feel like no one really notices him because he's always surrounded by so much quality on this Portugal team.
But he's never scored for his country in what is now 33 caps for Portugal. Ruben Neves, aimless crossfield ball played by Bruno Fernandes, and it goes out of play deep in Ghana's half on their right-hand side, right next to the corner flag. And Alidou Saïdou is the man that's going to take the throw-in, and Portugal will try and hem Ghana in here in their own defensive third, depending on what Saïdou can do with the quality of his throw back into play. 0-0 on TalkSport. Nearly 7 minutes gone at the 974 Stadium just south of Doha. Launched downfield looking for Williams. He did well actually, and now Kudus just shy of the halfway line, tries to poke it out to Ayew on the right wing, but Portugal are going to win it back. Ghana haven't had any sustained possession as yet in these opening 7 minutes. Ball's just played back to Cancelo. Now Danilo will look for Guerreiro. He'll just drift in field. Andre Ayew's gone with him. Lovely turn from Otavio. And then it's picked up on the left-hand side and worked back to Danilo. Very patient, Portugal, at this point.
The only issue with Portugal is they have a lot of players that are checking to feet. You know, Cristiano Ronaldo needs to stretch the pitch a little bit because you've got Bernardo Silva and Otavio in there. João Felix who likes to get on the ball. They need somebody, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo there, check towards the ball, set it back, which is great, possessing the ball, but you need someone that's going to stretch the pitch as well. Bruno Fernandes has come out to this right-hand side and they are interchangeable, but I feel like they need someone that's going to also stretch the pitch to free up a little bit of space in behind.
Ball breaks for Alexander Daiku, wearing number 23 for Ghana. Plays his football for the French club Strasbourg. Gets it back from his keeper, Lawrence Atizigi. And his right-footed clearance. Looks for Andre Ayew. Climbs for it, but Danilo wins the header. Drops, though, for one of the rising stars of Ghanaian football, making his debut tonight, Salis Samed. And he sets Saïdou away on the right-hand side. He crossed into the area, but it bounced once. Williams couldn't get there. And Diogo Costa happily picked up an easy ball in the Portuguese goal. 0-0. We played 8.5 minutes in Group H. Earlier today it was 0-0 between the other two teams in this group. South Korea and Uruguay barely got a shot on target between them. Let's see what Portugal can do with all this firepower and whether Ghana can pressurise them. Neves picks the ball up inside his own half, looks up to halfway and finds Bruno Fernandes out to this near side, the Portugal right, and Cancelo tries to play infield. It's gets away by Ghana and they bring it down in midfield. Nice touch from Samed to find Partey, and Partey just holds it up under pressure from a couple of players, including Bernardo Silva. Falls back at the edge of the Ghanaian penalty area, and that's better from the Africans. Better one-touch passing. As soon as I say that, they give it away, and the ball's through to Ronaldo inside the area, clashes with the keeper, goes over, and it's gone behind for a goal kick, says the American referee. Just for a moment it looked like Ronaldo had his chance to score at a 5th World Cup, but the ball got away from him and the chance got away from him. 0-0.
Yeah, he didn't really fall for him. I mean, I would expected him, Cristiano Ronaldo's quality, to have taken that touch a little bit closer to him. And these are the examples, I feel like, that people always often say Cristiano Ronaldo 5 years ago would have taken that in his stride and put it in the back of the net. But for me, it wasn't an easy chance, but Ghana looked like they were holding the possession, and then one mistake, allowed the ball to be played into the midfield to Bernardo Silva, and then he ends up putting Cristiano Ronaldo in, and it was an unfortunate, I think Cristiano Ronaldo should have done better there. I know I'm a big fan of his, but I'd expect him to have done better, but it is early stages in the game.
Long ball downfield from Ghana, trying to get Williams under pressure against Diaz. Diaz did well to nod it out of play. 10 minutes gone, 0-0 in the World Cup on TalkSport. Don't forget Brazil-Serbia to come straight after this. We'll be off to join Adrian Durham, Joe Shannon and Dean Ashton at the Lusail Stadium for that game, a repeat of a group stage game from 4 years ago. Portugal and Ghana pitting their wits for the first time in 8 years at a World Cup. And there's a foul on Otavio, just caught as he tried to head the ball downfield. And Portugal will have a free kick 10 yards shy of the halfway line, taken quickly by Neves, allowing Danilo to stride into the Ghana half. Now it's with Guerreiro. Felix had made a run down the left-hand side but wasn't used. Now he's picked up and tries to flick it round the corner, asking Guerreiro to give chase, but Daniel Amate, Leicester, is wise to it and works it back to his keeper. 0-0. Here's Kudus, finds Andre Ayew, holds the ball up well on halfway. Very difficult customer to dispossess when he's got it at his feet.
Absolutely, and I feel like when Ghana do have the ball, they need to make sure they take care of it, because I feel like Portugal are pressing pretty high. Just seen a little bit of skill there, thrown in, dropped the shoulder and goes the other way, but Thomas Partey's on the ball now, and I feel like they need to get him on the ball a little bit more, and he's just giving it away, and I feel like Portugal are pressing really, really well in those areas, especially central.
Here's João Felix on the left-hand side, lays it off for Guerreiro. Plenty of players out there. It's Bernardo Silva, plays the ball into Otavio, tries to turn around the corner at the left-hand corner of the penalty area, gets it back after a ricochet, now drops for Bruno Fernandes, lobs it out to the left-hand side. And now they're working it down the left-hand side of the box. It's across the face of goal and turned behind by Daiku for a Portuguese corner, their second of the game. 0-0.
That was great football from Portugal. This little intricate touch when Bernardo Silva just touched it on the instep was so good.
And they've taken the corner short as well. It's floated to the far post. Ronaldo heads it wide. He climbed as high as he often does up against Salisu, but the ball just skimmed off the top of his head, and a few boos ring around the 974 because he didn't score. Blimey, tough crowd. 12 minutes gone, 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'd expect Cristiano Ronaldo to have put that in the back of the net. 2 chances, there's only 13 minutes gone, but usually I'd expect him to put that away. Portugal took that corner super quick, and I think that caught Ghana off guard quite a bit. So he's had 2 opportunities, and I think this is going to be what's to come, to be honest. I think it's only a matter of time before he puts one in the back of the net. You mentioned before, Ian, that Ghana are the lowest ranked team in the tournament. I think at this moment in time, you look at the other teams that have played against a higher ranking team, they looked a bit fearless, whereas this team have come in and they look like they're just allowing Portugal to pop the ball around. They're not really getting near them, and when they are getting the ball, they're just giving it back straight to them. We saw that from a goal kick there. Now Portugal are coming straight back at them, possessing the ball, and I think we're going to see a lot of passes and possession for Portugal during this game, but I think Ghana needs to take better care when they do have the ball.
That's the award-winning Leanne Sanderson alongside me, Ian Dancer on commentary. I've got to say it 3 times a half in commentary.
I'll pay you later.
Yeah, bank transfers in the post, right? Here is Bernardo Silva inside his own half for Portugal. Plays it back for Ruben Diaz, his Manchester City teammate. Diaz at the edge of the D, gives it back to Bernardo Silva. Trot towards the halfway line, now faced up by Kudus, flicks it to his right for Fernandes. Ronaldo comes short, lays it back to Fernandes, and then he sweeps it out to the left hand side. A lovely ball, Fernandes, to pick out Guerreiro. Felix has gone into the area, Ronaldo there too, inevitably. Had to hold it up for a moment is Guerreiro. Now Ruben Neves picks it up inside left channel, plays it to the centre of the half for Otavio, turns away from a snapping challenge, but actually Kudus did brilliantly in the end to win it back, and then Ayew is tripped by Neves and Ghana get a free kick just shy of the halfway line. We're approaching the quarter-hour mark here on TalkSport. It is Portugal 0, Ghana 0.
That was exactly what Ghana needs to do. Kudos there, really good interception. It wasn't a foul. I think it was a correct decision for the referee, and now Ghana can hopefully, possess the ball a little bit. But Portugal certainly, it looks like João Felix is playing up there with Cristiano Ronaldo in the 2. When the ball goes back, he's pressing, which allows Cristiano Ronaldo to kind of wait for the moment.
I did wonder whether Felix was going to play alongside Ronaldo, whether it was going to be CR7 on his own. It is the former. On the right-hand side, Ayew for Ghana, midway point of his own half, looking for an option. Nothing ahead of him, so he plays it backwards a square to pick out Daiku. Now Salisu, the left of the 3 centre halves. Early ball downfield, asking Williams to give chase. It just drifts off the top of his boot and gets away from him and dribbles through to Diogo Costa, the Portuguese keeper. 0-0.
So that's the quality. Salisu played a decent ball in, and I felt like Williams could have probably had a better touch on that, and I feel like those are the opportunities. The quality just will let them down just a little bit, but one ball from Salisu from the back line nearly got Williams in, so Diaz needs to make sure the 2 centre-backs stay close together, because then they got split by just 1 ball.
Only made his debut in September for Ghana, Iñaki Williams. He was a Spanish player, played in a friendly in actual fact for Spain, but his parents are both from Accra, and he's got a better, you think Matt Holland had a brilliant consecutive record for appearances in the league with like 223. Iñaki Williams, 247 consecutive league games for Athletic Bilbao across 6 years.
Wow, that's incredible. That's amazing fitness levels as well, to stay injury free, because in this day and age most players, they don't really like playing 2-3 games a week. They monitor them, they say they can't, but that's fantastic. Fair play to him.
I hope I've not put the mockers on him by saying that. 16 and a half gone on TalkSport. Portugal 0, Ghana 0. And Lo Celso coming forward with João Cancelo, trying to play a 1-2 with Ronaldo, but that's comfortably tidied up at the back by Salisu. But his ball down the left-hand side's easily intercepted by Ronaldo, and then Fernandes swings the ball right to left to spread the play, to give Guerreiro a bit of space to drive downfield. Got options with him. Otavio's out there. Now João Felix just drifts infield to the centre of the Ghana half and then clips the ball out to Cancelo. Cancelo trying to measure a ball into the box. It's low and flat, headed away by Salisu, and then Kudus wins a 50-50 ball with Felix and threads a nice ball through up to the halfway line. Partey lays it off, and Ghana's starting to come forward here. Partey had stayed forward, but the ball from Baba Rahman was overhit, and again straight through to Costa in the Portuguese goal. 0-0.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Ian, with the quality. They're just letting them down a little bit. Nice little bit of intricate play from Thomas Partey, but the quality from Rahman in the end just kind of let them down. But I think Kudus in that midfield area has done a relatively decent job. He's cut out a few interceptions in there, and I think that's what they're going to need to do. Be fearless, try and annoy Portugal, because they've got so many good individual players. But for me, I think Cristiano Ronaldo a couple of times has come too deep. He doesn't need to come back and set the ball back. He's got loads of midfielders behind him that can do that, and I think Cristiano Ronaldo is going to get a lot of joy from Cancelo coming inside.
Here come Portugal again. It's with Bernardo Silva out to Neves on the left-hand side. It's a crossfield pass left to right to pick out Cancelo in space, almost level with the edge of the penalty area on this near side, the Portuguese right. He plays a little 1-2 and then works it back to Bruno Fernandes, sit quite deep in this attack. Diaz now picks it up on halfway, fires the ball out to Guerreiro, the left back. Guerreiro can't see an avenue to drive down himself, so again it's spread from left to right, being patient Portugal. Fernandes out to this near side, and Otavio is now playing in the right wing position. Really interchangeable, aren't they, all these positions for Portuguese players, Leanne Santos?
They are, but they're not really moving anywhere. Ghana are really disciplined in their defence as well, because they're going to have to be, but positionally I feel like, you know, if I'm a Ghanaian player right now, it's happy days. Let them keep popping it back, all the way back, but they don't look like they have any kind of mobility when it comes with pace, so they need to possess the ball and then pick their moments of when they're going to go. You know, we're having a lot of consecutive passes from Portugal, but where are they penetrating with the ball? You know, João Cancelo, we see for Manchester City, overlaps, gets down this right-hand side and puts the ball in the box. We're not really seeing that. We've seen a lot of passes, but not much directness in front of goal.
Guerreiro was caught by Alidu Saidu on the far side, and Portugal have a free kick which they've taken very quickly. Work back to Diaz in the centre circle. 0-0 on TalkSport at the World Cup. Still one more game to come tonight. Stay with us for Brazil-Serbia from the Lusail Stadium with Adrian, Joe Shen and Dean Ashton straight after this commentary. And 4 more games tomorrow. The second round of group stage games begins. The little matter of Wales against Iran kicking things off 10 a.m. tomorrow with Hugh Rosencroft, your host, Nigel Adley, Dean Saunders. Then we switch to TalkSport 2 for the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games. Qatar, Senegal at 1, Netherlands, Ecuador at 4, and then England against the United States, 7 p.m. at Al Bayt Stadium. Again, Adrian, your host, with Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce, the commentary team for that one. But here, Ian Dancer and Leanne Sanderson with you at the 974. 20 minutes gone in Group H. Portugal 0, Ghana 0. Ghana trying to win the ball back with Partey against Bernardo Silva, but again it just gets away from the Ghanaians, and Danilo and Diaz exchange passes. Otavio comes deep to the halfway line, plays it out to the near touchline, and Cancelo rolls it further down the right hand side for Fernandes, who thought he was fouled by Salisu. Referee was unmoved, and Ghana with a throw right in front of their manager, Ato Odo, just 47 years of age. It's his first job as a head coach, not even coached at a league level, but he was pressed into service when Ghana needed a manager to guide them through a tricky World Cup playoff against Nigeria, which he subsequently did.
Fair play to him, especially not, you know, managing before, but I think what we've seen there, we've seen so many passes from Portugal, and I just feel like they're not being direct enough. You know, they've got to mix it up a little bit. They've got a lot of their players being interchangeable, but for Ghana, they're just staying in position, and then the ball eventually falls to them. So, you know, I think Portugal will be impatient, which is great, but I still think they need to be a bit more direct when it comes to going towards goal, because they're possessing a lot of the ball in and around the midfield area, but nobody's really going down the right-hand side.
Kudus plays the ball through. Williams trying to burst through the middle, but across comes Cancelo, as all good fullbacks should do, helping out his centre-half and just intercepting as Ghana looked dangerous just for a split second.
Yeah, Kudus has been really good, I think, one of the bright lights for Ghana.
Scored 10 goals in 21 appearances for Ajax already this season. He's been having the season of his life. He's got some defending to do as Portugal come forward again. João Felix tries to whip a ball in for Cristiano Ronaldo, but he'd have to be 25 foot tall to get his head on that one. Behind it goes for a Ghana goal kick, and again a few playful boos go around the stadium as a ball's not put on a plate for CR7. 0-0.
Yeah, João Felix's technique is quite interesting, because he uses his instep, where we saw him play the ball out to this right-hand side to João Cancelo about 10 minutes ago, and I think he used that same technique to find Cristiano Ronaldo, and it just ballooned out of play. So wasn't the greatest of balls, but I still think, you know, João Felix hasn't played a lot of football this season. He's probably not going to be, depending on if Simeone stays there, he probably won't be at Atletico Madrid for much longer, because, you know, even when there's 5 substitutes that are being made, he's not coming onto the pitch.
That's right, and
for me,
he's
doesn't
had
make
loads
sense.
of injuries as well, hasn't he, since he made his debut for Portugal. What was it, 2019 he made his debut? He's just not had a consistent run, club or country.
No, I like him though. I think he's got a lot to offer, and sometimes, you know, ultimately when you're not playing minutes for your club, it can sometimes affect you, especially now that he's playing at a World Cup.
Short goal kick from Ghana, clipped downfield by Salisu, looking for Williams, but Diaz copes with it more than easily, and it's back with Danilo.
Thing is, I understand the quality, right? Ghana can't really compete with Portugal with regards to quality, but when the goalkeeper's getting the ball, they're not really having a pattern of play out from the back. It's like they're just kicking it straight down the upper end to Williams, and then the ball's just coming straight back at them. It's not really making any sense, because you work on these things in training. Yes, we know the quality individually will be better with Portugal, but when they are having the ball, you know, Thomas Partey, they need to get him on the ball more, because we know how good he's been for Arsenal this season. He's been brilliant.
Natalie's given me a great stat just a moment ago, which Ronaldo, the second ever player to captain their country at a World Cup without having a club. Bruce Wilson for Canada at 1986 in Mexico was the other player.
I told you your stats were good.
Natalie now sporting a broad grin, and so she should. 24 minutes gone on TalkSport. Portugal 0, Ghana 0. Ronaldo's had one or two half chances. Ghana haven't had a shot in anger in the first 24 minutes, and Portugal have possession again, and they're in the Ghanaian half, as they have been, not quite exclusively, but pretty much most of the first half. One forward from Bruno Fernandes as the ball was just clipped downfield by Guerreiro, but overhit ever so slightly, and it's going to be another goal kick to the Black Stars, and they take it quickly.
Yeah, again, it's going to ultimately come down to decision making in the final third for Portugal. It seems that way, you know, 74% possession right now for Portugal, which makes sense because they've had most of the ball, but I still think, you know, Ghana needs to do better when they do have it.
Ali Saidu was just caught inadvertently in the face by a stray boot from João Felix. Nothing malicious in that, but it does mean that Ghana have themselves a free kick. They haven't won their last 4 World Cup games, Ghana. They're only winning 7. Came in an important win against the Americans in the round of 16 back in 2010. Don't forget, breakfast back tomorrow 6 a.m. with Alan Brazil, Ali McCoyston, Ray Parlour, building up to Wales and England in action from 6 a.m. and our build-up to Wales-Iran will start at 9 a.m. with Jim and Simon moving to 1 to 3 tomorrow afternoon, whilst we switch our TalkSport 2 commentaries for World Cup for Qatar, Senegal at 1 and Netherlands, Ecuador at 4. I'll be doing that game between the Dutch and Ecuador with Dean Ashton on TalkSport 2. 0-0 here. Ghana in possession. I'm trying to work the ball up to Kudus, but won by Neves. Portugal again have it and try and work it into a danger area. Taken on by Bernardo Silva. Guerreiro, ever willing on the left-hand side, clips the ball into the box, but Amate gets the header clear. And Andre Ayew thought about scampering clear, but there were a number of red Portuguese shirts closing him down. They just about keep hold of it and work it back to Thomas Partey, just out of his own penalty area. 4 Portugal shirts converging on him, works it back to the keeper, Ati Ziggy, and his ball up to halfway sees Ayew offside, and Portugal will have a free kick. 0-0, 26 gone. Leanne Sanderson.
Yeah, that was quite risky play from Ati Ziggy there for Thomas Partey. I mean, he's got 4 players coming at him. I think Cristiano Ronaldo actually wanted the free kick. The referee played a good advantage, but I think in the end, you know, Guerreiro, the ball that he put into the box just wasn't at that quality. Cristiano Ronaldo, I think, would have been a perfect position for him, and I saw him practicing his free kicks before the game. Hasn't scored many of late free kicks wise, but he looked sharp in the warm-up with the free kick, so I'm sure he'd have preferred to have had the free kick there than to be given the advantage.
0-0. Guerreiro for Portugal. Early ball into the box, comfortably headed clear by Daiku. Goes up to halfway, but it doesn't stick with Ghana. Portugal have it again. Real pattern forming here in this game. Out to the right-hand side, and Bruno Fernandes. Down the right-hand side goes Cancelo, gets to the byline, whips a lovely ball in, but it's over the head of Felix. Picked up with a fast stick by Bernardo Silva. Back for Felix at the edge of the area, trying to wrap his left foot round it, off balance, put it over the bar. 0-0.
Yeah, nice original play from João Cancelo down this byline on the right-hand side. Bernardo Silva did a really nice cutback to João Felix, and he just let back. You know, the second one before that, when he tried to play Cristiano Ronaldo, to me, João Felix, I like him a lot, but he just looks like a player that hasn't played much football, because in that situation, I would expect João Felix to have either just scooped it into the back of the net or taken a touch. He had way more time than he probably thought, but that wasn't a great effort. But good play from Bernardo Silva to set the ball back.
This time Ati Ziggy, the Ghanaian goalkeeper, has told his centre-halves to clear off downfield rather than the short goal kicks, and he drives it down the inside left channel, looking for Williams to win the header. Drops instead for Ruben Diaz, who fires it over halfway. Salisu picks it up, lobs it forward, looking for Ayew. Diaz there again. Then it's Samed who tries to head it back into Portuguese territory. Well held up and protected by Williams. Samed finds Partey in the centre circle, and he plays an early ball out to Alidou Saidou on the right hand side, but can't make too much progress because Felix had blocked his path. So back it goes to Partey on halfway. The player that makes Arsenal tick. Can he make Ghana tick tonight? Out it goes to Bamaraman on the left hand side. Early ball into the area, come to be dealt with along the deck by Diaz. Salisu with a strong header, trying to get it back towards the Portuguese area. Chance for a counter attack for Portugal. Bernardo Silva plays the ball in field to Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes is checked by Samed, and a free kick is awarded to Portugal about 20 yards inside the Ghanaian half. 0-0.
That was great play from Bruno Fernandes, very clever, nice play from Bernardo Silva as well. And then Bruno Fernandes pulls in the nutmeg, and in the end, you know, it is a foul definitely, and it's a good position for Portugal from here. You know, they might be looking to load the box potentially, but I just think Portugal, for me, are checking, all their players are checking towards the ball, and nobody is stretching them. And I think Ghana as well, I've said it many times, I think they just need to take better care with the ball and don't play into Portugal's hands. Portugal are trying to rush Ghana when they've got the ball, and it's working because every time Ghana get the ball, they're just giving it straight back to Portugal and they're coming straight back at them.
So this free kick to the right of centre for Portugal here at the 974 Stadium, live on TalkSport at the World Cup. Cancelo's in acres of space, and so one of the two-man wall has broken off to just keep an eye on him. Leanne Sandon spotted it before Samed did.
So slow. Cancelo would have been in.
Yep.
He would have played it, but he's too slow.
Bruno Fernandes with the free kick, headed up in the air by Amate. Out to the left-hand side it goes. Neves tries to keep it alive for Portugal. Oh, neat skill by Saidou on that far side of the field. Protects it well. Gives it back to Daniel Amate. Gets his head up. Tries to clip it downfield, but Neves got an important touch. Kept in play. Ronaldo scrapping for the edge of the area. Wins it, but the whistle's gone. He's put it in the net, but the whistle had long gone for a push by Ronaldo. Arms out to his side. He implores that the referee. What was wrong with that?
I'm going to need to see this again. I'm going to need to see this again. Sorry, and I can't quite get my head around it because... Is that a foul? No, I don't think that's a foul. I really don't. If it's a soft foul, he barely touches him.
It's a soft nudge, shall we say, on Daiku, who went to ground, and the whistle had gone before Ronaldo had taken the shot. So it stays 0-0 on TalkSport. Lovely turn from Kudus on halfway. Ghana breaking forward, tries to fire it down to the right hand side for Williams when he might have been better by carrying it a few further yards forward himself, and Portugal win it back. And then there's a foul by Amate on Felix and a free kick to La Seleção. You're listening to TalkSport. Ian Danter and Leanne Sanderson with you at this wonderfully unique stadium made with 974 shipping containers. The whole stadium will be dismantled at the end of this World Cup. Very, very unique stadium indeed. Here's one of the most unique players ever to play the game, Cristiano Ronaldo, winning a free kick as he just gets his shirt pulled by Kudus. It's a bit further downfield, this free kick, halfway inside the Ghanaian half, again to the right of centre. Not quite close enough for Ronaldo to fancy it.
No, I love the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo, it's almost like he could have probably gotten the end of the ball, but he made the referee make a decision because Kudus did have his arms around him. But it's a good position. I think Portugal needs to be better on set pieces. We've seen about 3 or 4 from this area in the game so far, and I just feel like they're under-hitting the crosses. If they can, find Cristiano Ronaldo or Ruben Diaz on the back post, then they'll get a lot of joy, but they're under-hitting a lot of them.
Manchester United and Manchester City trying to mastermind this free kick. Fernandes and Bernardo Silva, be a right or a left-footed delivery. Hands on hips, Bernardo Silva. Ghana holding their line right at the edge of the 18-yard box as Bernardo Silva moves away. Fernandes drives the free kick in, headed up and away by Andre Ayew, with Danilo lurking just behind him. He's gone behind for a Portuguese corner, 0-0.
Again, I feel like Bruno Fernandes just needs to overhit the ball a little bit. I think they're under-hitting here, and he's just getting cut out. Ghana are in really good defensive positions, but for me, you've got to put the ball in between the six-yard box and the penalty spot.
So it's another corner, and a short corner from Bruno Fernandes for Guerreiro. Work back to Otavio. Diagonal ball into the box. Comfortable claim for Ati Ziggy, despite the fact he had to climb all over the back of his own defender Salisu to get there, but climb he did. Partey will bring it forward. Ball with the outside of his boot up to halfway for Samid. Partey gets it back. Not many runners ahead of him, so he gives it back to Salis Abdul Samid, making his Ghanaian debut tonight, remember. And he's just running along the halfway line. Plays it up to Kudus, who lays it off to Ayew. Ayew brilliantly challenged by João Felix, and then a foul on Otavio, and they wanted to play on. The referee blew the whistle, and the Portuguese felt they had the advantage.
Initially they wanted the free kick because Otavio stopped, so you can't have it both ways. I mean, I thought the ref tried to play advantage for a split second.
Back it goes to Ruben Neves of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Cross to Ruben Diaz. Now João Cancelo down the Portuguese right, works it back to Ruben Diaz, and a ball out to Rafael Guerreiro. Ronaldo comes deep, turns and tries to make headway towards the penalty area. It's won back though by Ghana. Kudus manages to smuggle the ball out to the right hand side, and Saidu. Ayew's made a run downfield but isn't used. It's gone back instead to Partey. Partey finds Samed, who just kept it away from Bruno Fernandes, and now Mohamed Salisu brings it forward, clips it downfield but gobbled up by Ruben Neves. Got nowhere near Kudus, who is furthest forward in that attack. And once again, as we mentioned earlier in commentary, Leanne Sanderson, Ghana can barely make more than 2 or 3 passes stick.
No, Kudus and Samed have done a really good job, you know, cutting out the play, and in his that final third part, and this is what brings me to Jordan Ayew. Like, I feel like he gives them a different option, and I feel like in the Premier League, you know, especially for Crystal Palace, he does always, you know what you're going to get with him. You know, similar to Almiron, where they're going to work their socks off and they'll make an opportunity happen.
0-0. About 10 minutes to half-time on TalkSport. Cancelo on the right wing, trying to get the better of Rahman. Lays it off instead to Bernardo Silva, still down that right-hand side of the Ghana penalty area, near side to us. They would have throw, taken quickly by Cancelo, down for Ruben Neves. He tucks it in field for Otavio. Wrong puts Andre Ayew, drives towards the edge of the area, diagonal ball into the box, looking for, guess who? Couldn't find him, headed away by Amate. But Portugal still have it. Felix with a couple of step-overs, 30 yards out, plays it in field to Bruno Fernandes, and then Otavio turns and shoots weakly at the edge of the area. Very comfortable save for Lawrence Altsigi, who plays for St. Gallen in Switzerland, making his 11th appearance tonight. It's 0-0 between Portugal and Ghana tried to come forward, just a long ball downfield, asking Inaki Williams to give chase. Diaz can't prevent the corner though. Looked like he was easily favourite to get there first before it went over the dead ball line, but a corner to Ghana it is, their first of the game at 0-0.
Yeah, well, that was quite uncharacteristic like from Ruben Diaz, because he looked like he completely had it covered, and then, you know, it's gone out for a corner. But this goes to show you when you put the pressure on. I just expected Ruben Diaz to chest it down, bring it down and be nice and calm like he usually is, but it's gone out for a corner for Ghana.
Well, let's see what they can do from their first corner kick of the game. In actual fact, Alidou Saidu thought it was a throw-in.
It's like he didn't want the throw.
Yeah.
He didn't want the corner, he wanted it to be a throw. Maybe this is a tactic.
If it is, it's very clever. So Kudus instead has gone across to that far side. It'll be a left-footed in-swinger from the Ajax man. Zonal marking mostly from Portugal inside the 6-yard box. In it comes from Kudus, headed away by Neves, straight back to Kudus on that far side. Wraps his left foot around it, good ball in, headed away and over the bar by Portugal. Another corner for Ghana, much better ball second time around from Mohamed Kudus. 0-0.
That's a really good ball. The second one was really, really good, and it caused a lot of problems for Portugal. And this goes to show if you put a purposeful ball into the box with pace, someone could be there. Thomas Partey nearly got his head on it, and it's gone out for another corner,
which has just been placed in the left-hand quadrant nearest to us by Baba Rahman. So another left-footed delivery, but this will be an outswinger, of course, from this near side. Ayew and Kudus standing around the penalty spot. In it comes from Rahman, from about 6 yards out, kept away from Ayew by Ronaldo, volleyed back into the area by Saidu, and then the whistle has gone for a push by a Ghanaian player inside the box, and Portugal get a free kick. 7.5 to the break on TalkSport. It's still Leanne Sanderson, Portugal 0, Ghana 0.
Yeah, and obviously Portugal have had, it was a really good clearance there from Cristiano Ronaldo doing the defensive work, but Portugal have had a lot of possession, but I don't think they're trying to force the ball to Cristiano Ronaldo, because he's not being really that mobile. It's almost like he's waiting and waiting and waiting for the ball to potentially come. I think Cristiano Ronaldo is dropping too deep for me at times, of trying to set the ball to stay in the box. The other players will get you the ball. You know, João Cancelo will get you the ball. Just stay in the area. I'm not saying just stand and be a goal hanger, but, you know, you don't need to check towards the ball because you've got all these players that can do that job. And I just don't think they're causing much problems to Ghana. They're having a lot of the ball, but as we can see now, Ian, they're not really causing any problems, are they? They're being interchangeable, but they're not being very mobile and direct.
That's former England goal hanger Leanne Sanderson with us on TalkSport. An award winner. I've got to mention
goal hanger.
That's rather rude. I'll correct myself.
It's not rude.
England striker. Now Portugal have the ball again just shy of the halfway line with Ruben Neves. Just clips the ball over the top. It's Fernandes that made the run this time, but it was hit too firm and too straight by Neves, and he holds his arm up apologetically. And we're drifting towards half-time, and Ato Odu, if he can get the Black Stars in at half-time level, would, I assume, be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, definitely. I think defensively they've looked really organised as they have to be. I think I want to see more from that though. You know, Ruben Neves nearly found Bruno Fernandes with that run. Bruno Fernandes, we know, can make that third player run, but if the ball was better, he would have been in. And I think Portugal need to mix it up a little bit. They're popping the ball around in and around the middle of the pitch, you know, and in the final third, but they're not causing any problems. So, but yeah, definitely Ghana will be really happy that there's still 5 minutes plus additional time to go. So we'll have to wait and see, but they'll be happy going in this way if it continues.
João Felix for Portugal, out on the far side, the left, plays it in field to Ruben Neves. Neves just plays it backwards to square to Diaz, who's just ahead of the centre circle. Guerrero picks it up once more, left-hand side. Bernardo Silva's out there with him, but Guerrero drives the ball along the deck into the box, and that's a very easy clearance for Alexander Daiku. Williams gamely giving chase, but tidied up very neatly by Danilo to get it back to his keeper, Diogo Jota. Preferred to Rui Patricio. Diogo Costa made his debut against Turkey in the playoff semi-final. Remember, Portugal had to beat Turkey and Italy's conquerors North Macedonia in the playoffs to get to the World Cup. Now they've got some defending to do as Kudus works the ball in field from the left wing. Williams holds it up. Rahman in support down the Ghanaian left. 3 players to hit in the box for a cross, but Rahman's holding it up and not delivering. Now works it back to Samir. Partey of Arsenal takes over. Salisu of Southampton now drives down the inside left channel nearest to us. Then it goes infield. Good touch. Neat play in actual fact from Daniel Amate. And then the ball's given up by Samed, and away come Portugal. There might be space in behind if they play the ball right. And look for João Felix over the top. It didn't work, but now they look for Cristiano Ronaldo down the left-hand side of the area. Faced up by Saidu. Ronaldo gets to the edge of the box, plays a 1-2 with Guerrero, tries to drive it across the face of the goal, and it's blocked away by 2 or 3 white shirts. Back in field it goes to Otavio, and now back into the centre circle for Ruben Diaz. 0-0.
Yeah, it was quite strange there because it looked like Cristiano Ronaldo.
As the cross comes in from Fernandes, volley back across goal, and Ronaldo almost got in the way of things, and the whistle's gone for a foul anyway. João Felix and Cristiano Ronaldo got in a terrible muddle on the byline, and it ends up being a free kick to Ghana. 0-0. You were saying, Leanne Sanderson?
Yeah, because the ball fell to João Cancelo there, and it was almost like the ball went past him, fell to João Felix, and Cristiano Ronaldo didn't know the ball was... I think he thought he didn't see his teammate behind him, so I think he thought the ball was just going to go out of play and it missed him. Whereas if he would have seen that, you know, the player running in there, he probably would have stayed inside. But I think when I'm watching João Cancelo today on this right-hand side, I don't think he's been as dynamic as he is at Manchester City. I know we're talking like the players that he's playing with, but he has Bernardo Silva, you know, his club teammate in there as well, that's being really mobile in those areas. But when the ball's on the other side, João Cancelo for Manchester City usually gets into the box. He's quite happy to hang out on this right-hand side during this game, whereas I want to see him, you know, being more direct when he's also getting on the ball, but when the ball's on the opposition side as well.
Baba Rahman gives the ball up on halfway. Portugal have it again. Foul on Bruno Fernandes by Salisu. You're listening to Talk Sport. Just over 2 minutes plus added time to half-time here in the 974 Stadium. It's still goalless between Portugal and Ghana in Group H. It was goalless earlier between South Korea and Uruguay in the other game in this group. Portugal in possession as they have been for so much of this first half. Clipped in field by Guerrero. Little touch by Bruno Fernandes. Felix goes to ground under pressure from Ayew. No foul, says the referee, and it's held up. Allowing Kudus to try and bring it clear. Lovely quick feet from Mohamed Kudus, and then he gets a foul as he's pushed over by Otavio. Great skill from the Ajax man. He's been absolutely brilliant. Kudus there. I mean, he got out of a situation there that he had no right getting out of, and had conviction, good skill, and he drew the foul. Really good play. I've been impressed with him. I really have. He's been very good for Ajax. Ball given away by Samed, and here come Portugal. It's drilled wide by Fernandes to Bernardo Silva. Right hand corner of the box, flicks it back to Cancelo. He gives it back to Bernardo Silva. Thinks about a left footed cross, but comes infield instead to find Fernandes. Now on the right wing, Cancelo can measure a ball in. Flies across the face of the goal and goes behind everybody in either Portugal or Ghana shirts, and out to the left hand side, and Rafael Guerreiro. Felix takes over, looks for Ruben Neves. Cancelo again in space, right hand corner of the box, flicks it down the right side of the area. Otavio tries to chip the keeper or cross it, got caught in two minds maybe. He's gone over the bar for a goal kick. 0-0 on TalkSport. Yeah, that wasn't a great effort in the end, but when João Cancelo picked up this ball, I thought he was going to do the outside of the foot. I think he thought about it, putting the ball in the box like we saw him do in the Premier League the other week. It was a fantastic ball to Haaland, but he ended up finishing it. But Portugal, they've definitely Ghana have frustrated Portugal during this game, because they're giving away the ball unnecessarily, Ghana, but really Portugal haven't, apart from those two opportunities that Cristiano Ronaldo had that he probably should have put away. They don't really have many opportunities, and I feel like they're not being dynamic in his final third areas. Well, I can't think of a save that Lawrence Ati-Ziggy's had to make of any real consequence in this first half. Ruben Diaz, meantime, under pressure at the edge of his own penalty area, and then Cancelo is caught, and a yellow card is issued immediately to Kudus for a high boot as Cancelo tried to clear. That's the first yellow card of the night, and it's come as we approach 2 minutes only of additional time at the end of this first half. That's unusual for this World Cup. That's probably the lowest we've seen at half time. That's actually made me quite happy, because I don't like it when there's I know you've got to play with substitutes and those things, but I think there's been too many additional minutes. But Kudus there, he was just going for the ball. João Cancelo did sell it, but those ones do hurt as well. Yeah. And they got caught on the top. But again, Kudus, I think in this game has been Ghana's best player, absolutely. And I think the back line, Silisu, they've been decent, but need to take care of the ball a little bit better in those areas as well when they're getting the ball, to be able to possess the ball. Guerreiro, left-hand side for Portugal. We're in that 2 minutes of minimum stoppage time now. Felix goes to ground in a collision with Saidu, and it's been given as a foul against the Portuguese number 11, and it'll be a free kick to Ghana. So only 2 minutes of minimum stoppage. That means we'll have 16 in the second half. Yeah, probably. That was good play from Saidu there. Very smart, almost annoying João Felix, because he's getting nice and close to him, and he's not really giving him any kind of sniff of the ball. So that's really good positional play. I don't think Ghana have really shown much going forward. I think Williams has tried to stretch the pitch, but I just feel like Portugal will probably be quite frustrated going in at half time if it stays this way, because they've had all the possession but they just can't quite pull it off. Ati-Ziggy's ball downfield was flicked on by Williams, but just bounced away from Kudus. And there's Bernardo Silva at the edge of his own penalty area, looking to direct operations as the first half draws towards a close here on TalkSport. Brazil-Serbia to come later, don't forget. Stay on this frequency for Adrian Durham, Joe Shannon and Dean Ashton at the Lusail Stadium for that Brazil-Serbia game, to round off the first round of group stage matches, and then the second round kicks off tomorrow with Wales and England in action. But at half-time here at the 974 Stadium, Portugal have had almost all of the ball, but not many chances, and Ghana, with their five-man defence, have worked incredibly hard and have kept Cristiano Ronaldo and co at bay largely. I can't think of a serious save that either keeper has had to make in this first half, but the Black Stars will go back into the dressing room far happier than the Seleção with the way that this first half has gone. At the break, it's Portugal 0, Ghana 0. Ghana will have the honour of getting the second half underway. They line up with Lawrence Ati-Ziggy in goal, Daniel Amate, Alexander Daiku and Mo Salisu in the back three, Alidou Saidu and Baba Rahman the wing backs, Salis Samed and Thomas Partey in midfield, and Andre Ayew and Mohamed Kudus supporting Inaki Williams up front, as we're back underway on TalkSport at the 974. Portugal with Diogo Costa in goal, João Cancelo, Ruben Diaz, Danilo and Rafael Guerreiro in defence, Ruben Neves, Otavio, Bernardo Silva, and Bruno Fernandes in midfield. Cristiano Ronaldo supported by João Felix in attack. And Ghana have an early throw on the far side of the field. They will be attacking the end to our right, the Black Stars. That's where the Ghana fans are most in evidence with their very, very colourful outfits. Portuguese fans away to the goal. On our left-hand side, that's the end. That's CR7 and co will be attacking as the ball's once again with Rafael Guerreiro. Saw a lot of the ball in the first half for the Portuguese. Now Otavio driving to the left-hand corner of the penalty area. Rides the challenger party, gets to the byline, tries to pull it back, but he run out of room really, and the ball just dribbled over the dead ball line. And it's a goal kick to Ghana, 0-0.
They're pretty animated in this, Ian. It looks like they think it should have been a corner. So, and they seem pretty strong in their case. I'm not quite sure. I think it looked like a goal kick to me, but all the players seem to run towards the referee in the end. But as the game goes on, obviously the second half just kicked off. Ghana will try to frustrate Portugal. You know, we'll probably start to see them staying down.
Cristiano Ronaldo wins a ball that was ricocheted up into the air at the edge of the Ghana penalty area. Chance for the ball to be played into the box, but it's rather telegraphed and picked up by Salih Samed. But he can't keep the ball in play. Portugal have a throw. 10 yards for the corner flag on the far right-hand side for the Portuguese. To be taken by João Cancelo. Gets it back from Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva under pressure. Has to work the ball back to halfway. Danilo. And they are spreading play a little quicker now. It's gone from right to left. Here is Rafael Guerreiro jinking down this near left-hand side. Leaves it and lays it off for João Felix. Into the centre of the Ghana half. And Ruben Neves. One more across to the right. And Bernardo Silva. Now Cancelo. Runs into Baba Rahman. Good strong challenge for the man playing at Reading at the moment, on loan from Chelsea, and he brings the ball away for Ghana. It's 0-0, driven across the 18-yard line, well controlled by Daniel Amate. He can move into the middle of his own half, gets up towards the end of the centre circle, then turns and lays it off. Saidu, the right wing back, under pressure from Felix, gives it back to Amate once more. Amate to Partey, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Then Saidu wins a free kick as he's dragged down by Guerreiro on this left-hand side. What do you think Fernando Santos would have been saying to his players at half-time?
They need more. You know, they need to have a little bit more conviction. I think some of their players are a little bit too predictable. You know, they're going from left to right. Ball goes out to Cancelo, and then it's almost like there's no overlapping run. Ruben Neves, you know, and Ghana is sitting in the back five. You know,
ball down the left-hand side, looking for Andre Ayew, but that was superbly dealt with by Ruben Diaz. Rolls Royce of a defender, and then a yellow card for Andre Ayew for a challenge in the centre circle on Otavio. Both players are down in the heat, but Ayew the aggressor, and he gets a yellow card to join Mohamed Kudus in the book. 0-0.
That play from Ruben Diaz was exactly what we thought in the first half he would have done. You know, outside of the foot, brings it down and just completely comes out with the ball. But I was just saying, you know, I feel like the longer the game goes on, Ghana will look to, you know, do the dark arts of football, and why not? You know, it's not my type of football, but you've got to do what you've got to do to win matches, and they're going to look to frustrate Portugal. And the longer the game goes on, it plays into Ghana's hands, because, you know, you look at the bench for Portugal, not really, apart from Diego Dalot, they've not really got loads of people on the bench. You know, I think Ghana have a player in Jordan Ayew they can bring off the bench that can actually make a difference, but I think they're going to look to frustrate Portugal in the way that they are, because they're just going from side to side, not with any pace, and there's not much. The players are rotating in the middle of the pitch in the number 10 role when João Felix is coming deep, but they're not really causing a problem. Ghana are just sitting in their position and they're not really being moved.
Well, there's an early change coming for Portugal. The man known as the Velvet Tank, William Carvalho, is going to be on shortly. Not sure who for. That we will discover shortly. Anyway, we're back underway. Inside their own half, worked up to halfway, where it's clipped downfield by Kudus. Williams looking for the run of Andre Ayew, trying to bend his run. Again, superbly covered by Diaz, but the offside flag went up anyway. Will this herald the change for Fernando Santos? Or will he just wait for a little while longer? He will wait.
The thing is, though, I'm not quite sure why you don't make this substitution at half-time. Unless someone's got an injury, make the substitution that you need to at half-time, and then let the players do what they got to do. Because making a substitution after 50 minutes shows me that Fernando Santos was thinking about doing it at half-time. So just do it then, unless the player has now tried to come out in the second half and has picked up an injury or was carrying one from the first half.
Well, Carvalho has now put his training top back on and has gone back out to the far side, down to our left to continue warming up. He looked ready to come on a moment or so ago, but Portugal are sticking with the 11 that are out there for the moment. 0-0 on TalkSport. 5 gone in the second half. Kudus for Ghana, trying to drive into the Portuguese half. Toe pokes it out to Williams on the left-hand side. Nobody in the box for a cross apart from 5 Portuguese defenders. Then a back heel tries to get Rahman away, and Portugal can clear. And it's Neves. Drives the ball across. It might be picked off here by Saidu. He's got a touch on the ball and kept it in play on this near side. Now you've got Williams and Ayew waiting for a cross. Lovely drop of the shoulder from Saidu. Gets to the byline. Cross over the head of Williams to the far post. Rahman trying to control it, but Fernandes robbed it off him and then got pulled back. Free kick to Portugal. Stays 0-0 on TalkSport.
That was really good play from Saidu there down this right-hand side, and it goes to show you, if you do have some type of conviction in your attacking play, which Ghana have seemed to have at half-time. You've seen a lot of teams in this tournament, they seem to go in at half-time and come back out, and they seem to have, the managers made a difference, and I feel like you can see now, you know, they've come out again in this second half, the underdog team, and they look like they're really challenging, and I fear for Portugal. I don't think they're playing anywhere near their levels, and if they play against a better team, it could come back to bite them.
Ronaldo was one-on-one with Amate for a moment, but Amate got a foot in. Portugal get it back. It's on the right-hand side with Cancelo. Tries to step inside. Kudus. No foul given and a chance for Ghana to break. Inaki Williams calling for it through the middle. Is he going to get it? It's gone out to the left-hand side and Kudus. Williams waiting for a cross. Ayew joining him. It's back with Salih Samed at the left-hand corner of the area. Back down the left-hand side of the box for Kudus. His ball in, deflects behind for a corner kick to Ghana early in this second half. 7 gone. Still 0-0 on TalkSport. That
was a good decision from the ref, because I'm a big fan of João Cancelo, but I feel like he dives too much. You know, in that situation there, he lost the ball because he was already thinking about drawing the foul. And I think that was good refereeing. Kudus has come away with the ball. But the only thing I will say, Williams made a really good run. Played the ball through the middle, you know, caused a problem for Diaz, but they went out wide, which allowed, you know, Portugal to then get back into position. But yeah, Ghana have come out this second half, definitely giving it a good go.
The Ghana fans behind that goal, away to our right, pitch their voices up a notch or two as Rahman prepares to drive this left-footed corner in. An outswinger from Rahman to around the penalty spot. Salisu went up, didn't get there. Headed out to the edge of the area. Portugal desperately trying to get it clear, and then a poor effort from Saidu trying to drive it back into the area. Went well wide, and a quickly taken goal kick by Diogo Costa, looking to get Portugal downfield. But it was easily repelled by Ghana. Ball drops in the centre circle and the Portuguese have it back. Ball down the left-hand side, outside of the right boot from Otavio, trying to get Bruno Fernandes away. And overhits back with the Ghana keeper. 0-0 it stays.
You can see what Otavio was trying there, but again the quality just wasn't there at all.
Lovely skill from Danilo to lob the ball over the head of Ayew, but then Ayew snapped back and won the ball, and then got fouled on halfway by Otavio. And that is another free kick to Ghana, and the frustration continues for Ronaldo and co.
Yeah, the quality just isn't there. I feel like Portugal, I expected a little bit more from them. We know they've got good individual players. We know they've got great footballers with Bernardo Silva and those types of players, but they're not really moving, they're not threatening, you know, the Ghanaians' goal. They're just in this area possessing the ball. I think it's been a pretty scrappy game.
Otavio now trying to release Ronaldo down the left-hand side of the area. Ronaldo into the box, couple of step-overs, the angle's tight, tries to drive it across the area. Ghana deal with it, and a good turn from Saidu, finds Thomas Partey, and he rolls it into the feet of Kudus. Another lovely turn from Mohamed Kudus, and he's driving into the Portuguese half. Neves trying to snap back at him. Kudus goes for goal, only just wide. Best chance of the game by far, created and attempted by Mohamed Kudus. Fully 60-yard run and a shot that was just wide of the near post to Diogo Costa's left. Still 0-0, but that's better from Ghana.
Yeah, Kudus has been absolutely brilliant. He really has. Fantastic. Ruben Neves even tried to play him back. And we can see Ado, the manager, you know, as soon as that strike happened, he was getting all the Ghanaian fans going down on this sideline because they can feel something. The momentum is with Ghana right now. It really is. You can feel it within the stadium. You can feel it within their play in the second half. The longer the game goes on, you know, they could potentially nick a winner. You know, you never know. I didn't think I'd ever be saying that, but they definitely look like the better team. Cristiano Ronaldo there went down this left-hand side, tried to get away, just snatched at the ball a little bit, but definitely they're making Ghana have done really well this second half.
Well, William Carvalho definitely is coming on, because Otavio just went down in a heap and he's being led off So that's the first change of the night, as Otavio goes off and Carvalho comes on to replace him. A player who's never quite achieved what I thought he might, William Carvalho, playing for Real Betis now, playing much better, the former Sporting youth. He's on wearing number 14, totally different player to Otavio, taller, more physically imposing, and a perfect man to pick at the ball from the back four and try and set things going. So Neves will play a little further forward now, I suspect, Leanne Sanderson.
Which I think will be good, because I think Otavio, I think has been quite underwhelming. I think Carvalho coming into this match, you know, you can see he's always already making those runs. They need something different. I mean, Neves looks like he's still a little bit deeper, but I feel like they need him higher up the pitch. But I think Portugal need to be higher up the pitch in general. I think they're possessing the ball in areas that are not affecting Ghana in any way.
11 minutes gone in the second half on TalkSport. Portugal 0, Ghana 0. Ian Danter and Leanne Sanderson with you at this 974 stadium. So don't forget, Brazil, Serbia straight after this game. And now Saidu's going to get a yellow card. He's the latest to go into the American referee's notebook for a crew challenge on João Felix. Protests his innocence, but a booking it is, 0-0.
I thought it was a foul. I genuinely thought it was a foul. I mean, I feel like he was protesting like he...
There's a bit of afters there, and Saidu's almost gone to remonstrate with Felix as he was down on the ground, and Daniel Amate is having to push him away and keep him out of trouble so he didn't get a second yellow.
So silly. He doesn't need to be doing this. I mean, him and Saidu and João Felix go against each other. I mean, Saidu, to be fair, has head gestured towards Felix, and you can't really do stuff like that.
Well, VAR may well take a look at this.
You can't do stuff like that.
We've just seen a replay where João Felix very gently lent his head in to Saidu. Saidu reacted by dragging his head down the face of João Felix.
Just doesn't need to get involved in stuff like that. And I feel like the way he reacted to the initial yellow card, I thought he'd already been booked, because he was quite angry in the way that, I mean, he did catch João Felix, but this is an interesting one here, because Saidu just doesn't need to be getting involved in stuff like that.
Now the referee's come across to have a word with Saidu and telling everyone else to go on. I think this could be like a final warning, maybe. Say any more of that, you've already got a yellow. The tightrope is very, very slim for you. That's it. No further punishment for Saidu, but I wonder whether Atawodu might see that as too much of a risk to leave the right wing back on.
I mean, I think he's very lucky. I think Saidu's very, very lucky. I feel like when we've just seen the replay again, I mean, it's good refereeing, I guess, because you don't want to see players getting sent off for stuff like that. They wouldn't have 10 years ago, but at the same time, rules are rules. You can't do a head gesture towards a player. You can't. Yeah, João Felix was standing there, but I think Saidu's moved his head towards João Felix, which I think he's very lucky that he's got a referee that's allowed him to get away with that, because I think that should have been a red card.
No surprise that Tariq Lamptey's stripped and ready to come on then as a consequence of that. When you see a replay of that, if you're listening to this on TalkSport and you're going to catch up with highlights later, you might find it a little odd that VAR decided that no further punishment was necessary, but that's what we have. It's just a booking for Alidu Saidu, and it stays 0-0 on TalkSport between Portugal and Ghana as Carvalho overhits the ball. Ghana, first side to fail to have a first half touch in the opposition box of the World Cup, but they had two efforts already since half time, so things have changed a little in terms of the ebb and flow of this game. In fact, it's going to be a double change for Ghana. Osman Bakari of Savannah Zabedza is going to be coming on as well. At the other end, Portugal trying to come forward with Bruno Fernandes back to goal at the edge of the penalty area. Cancelo looking for Bernardo Silva. Barbara Rahman trying to protect it, does well actually, and the ball ricochets in field fortuitously for Ghana, but then Samed loses out and Bernardo Silva tries to get in behind the defender, but that was very well dealt with. No foul. Back it goes to Lawrence Ati-Ziggy, the Ghanaian goalkeeper, and it stays 0-0 on TalkSport.
It was a fantastic touch from Bernardo Silva to find himself in that position, but I think when he's done that, he's tried to, sell the foul. I think again the referee made the correct decision, but I think Tariq Lamptey coming on now for Ghana could really holds a different threat for them, because he's got a lot of pace, he's got good delivery. So along with Williams, maybe he might come off. Yet to be determined who's coming off in this match, but I think Tariq Lamptey's a top player, and he can cause a lot of problems if given the time.
Now the referee wants a Portuguese free kick, Ghana free kick rather, to be taken on the halfway line. They're trying to steal a few yards into the Portuguese half. 0-0, hour gone on TalkSport. And the ball's back by Daiku to his goalkeeper Ati Ziggy. Drives the ball right, puts it downfield, asking Ayew to give chase, but he won't catch that up. It's bounced all the way through to Diogo Costa, the Portuguese keeper. Still, the Ghanaian players wait to come on, Bukari and Lamptey. Neves, meantime, for Portugal. Out to the left-hand side, asking a lot of Guerrero, but he did well to keep it in play. Very well, in actual fact, to keep it in play. Yeah,
he did. I'm getting really nostalgic, Ian, because I can see George Boateng giving out instructions to Tariq Lamptey down there, and I remember him as a player as well. So it's quite cool to see during this competition the amount of assistant coaches in and amongst it. Edgar Davids with the Netherlands as well.
And I bet he's brilliant to have around the dressing room. Such a jolly, happy character, George Boateng. Ball into the edge of the area. Ronaldo goes down to the pressure, and Salisu, penalty given. Salisu protests his innocence, but the referee sees that as a foul, and Portugal have a penalty, and this is Ronaldo's chance to make history at 0-0.
I don't think that's a penalty. I actually don't think that's a penalty at all. I'd be interested to see if they're going to check this, because do you think that's a penalty?
They will.
I don't think that's a penalty.
I think
got the ball.
Salisu gets something of the ball.
I think it's Salisu got the ball first. I mean, I love Cristiano Ronaldo, but for me, that's not a penalty.
Well, the referee's bidding players to get out of the penalty area. Ronaldo's cradling the ball under his right arm, ready to spot it down.
But Salisu looked like he got a touch on the ball first.
The VAR is Armando Villarreal, again from the United States. And the referee is telling the goalkeeper, Ati Ziggy, to get back to his goal line. We've seen no evidence of a VAR check on our screens.
Wow, I'm really surprised at that. I'm really surprised. Really surprised, because I don't personally think that was a penalty.
Well, meanwhile, the referee just says wait. We may well be getting a VAR check, as he's telling everyone to get outside the penalty area. Now Ronaldo has spotted the ball down, and it will be his chance to make history. No player has scored at 5 World Cups. Cristiano Ronaldo has the chance to stand on his own in footballing history, to give Portugal the lead and add another record to his extraordinary roster. He stands directly down the centre of the penalty area, trying to give the goalkeeper no clue about which way he's going to strike it. Referee checking for encroachment. Ronaldo waits for the whistle. Ati Ziggy bouncing up and down on his goal line. It's Ronaldo for Portugal. Slow run up to the ball, right-footed. History! History for Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo! He becomes the first player to score at 5 World Cups. He puts Portugal ahead with 25 minutes to go. It is all about him. CR7 makes it Portugal 1, Ghana 0.
I'm absolutely delighted, Ian. I don't think it was a penalty. We've watched it many times. I'm not quite sure how the VAR have given that. People might disagree, but I'll take that. I love Cristiano Ronaldo, as everybody knows. He stepped up. He took a really deep breath. It seems to take an eternity for the penalty to actually be able to be taken, but took a nice deep breath, nice and calm, so much relief. Cristiano Ronaldo doing the zoo again. It's the things you love to see, and I'm just really grateful that I'm here to witness this.
Well, you can't keep him out of the headlines for good or for bad, but that's a moment to savour for Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal. And he did that traditional jump and land at the corner flag.
What a picture that is, Ian, right in front of that picture of Messi, the one we were talking about pre-game, the drawing that they have, he does it right in front of that. I have a feeling that's going to be a picture we're going to see a lot all over social media, but, you know, he did a penalty that you wouldn't expect him usually to take in the way that he did, because we see a lot of penalties during the competition so far. Lionel Messi, Valencia, just kind of waiting for the keeper to make a dive and then putting it the other way and almost like rolling it so calmly in the back of the net, but he stepped up. It almost reminded me of that penalty that he took for Portugal, you know, in the Euros, I think it was, when he put it in the back of the net. And for Real Madrid, he's done it many times where he likes to take the full penalty, but none other than Cristiano Ronaldo, you want him stepping up and taking it.
Tariq Lamptey is on after Portugal score with their first shot of the second half, Ronaldo's penalty. Meantime, Inaki Williams fancies a crack at goal. Danilo deflects the ball up in the air, and Diogo Costa does brilliantly to prevent the corner kick. And we tick round towards the last quarter of this game, and now the onus is on Ghana to come out and try and affect matters, because Portugal now have their noses in front. Lamptey's on for Saidu, and that substitution's been in the post for a good 5 minutes.
It seemed to take an eternity, really, for the substitutes to be able to come on. I'm not saying that affected the play and the penalty, but it took forever, it seemed. They've been waiting on the sideline for ages to come into this match, but Tariq Lamptey will make a difference, but he's going to have to now, because this may go on to just be like a formality. Maybe Portugal will get a little bit more confidence, you know, possessing the ball, stretching the pitch. That was the first time they probably stretched the pitch, one of the only times in this game, and it paid off. But again, you know, I love Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm really grateful I'm here to witness this, but I still don't think it was a penalty, Ian. I can't see it. Can you see it? Do you think it was a penalty?
It looked harsh. It looked like, at first glance, it looked like Salisu got something on the ball. VAR decided it was not worthy of overturning, so we play on at 1-0 to Portugal. Mohamed Kudus, who's had a good game for the Black Stars, out on the far left-hand side, touches it back in field, and it's picked up by Samir. Partey leaves it for Amati, and now Partey comes in field, might go for goal here, or wild shot well over the bar, lands about 25 rows back in that stand to our right, and it's a goal kick to Portugal, who lead 1-0 on TalkSport in the 974 stadium, and we'll be off to the Lusail Stadium next for Brazil against Serbia with Adrian Durham, Joe Shannon and Dean Ashton. Leanne Sanderson's with me tonight, and Portugal are in possession at the edge of their own penalty area. Neves guides it down for Cancelo, who nominally lines up as a right back, but he's not really a full back, he does what he wants. João Cancelo, whether he's playing right back or left back, particularly for Manchester City, and it seems like his role here for Portugal isn't that dissimilar.
I actually think Kudus has probably been the best player on the pitch for me. I mean, I know there's a lot of talent in the Portugal team, but you know, and obviously when you're giving out awards at the end of the game for player of the match, Kudus won't be the player that will probably get it, because if it was to stay this way, there'd only be one man that will be getting it. But I think he's been brilliant. Thomas Partey there took that shot off. I know they say if you don't shoot, you don't score, but that shot wasn't good at all. It was quite erratic, and you know, Thomas Partey now has just played the ball out of play, kind of unopposed. But you know, fair play to Ghana. They've been fearless, but ultimately it's come down to a VAR or a decision from the referee that he's made that's allowed them to get the penalty. And I think Portugal will probably be relieved that they're 1-0 up, because they haven't really showed any type of signs of scoring, really. You know, they haven't really had any shots, they haven't really tested the goalkeeper.
Lamptey just penalised for a nudge on João Felix. 4 more games tomorrow, and the best way to build up to it all is with Alan Brazil, Ali McCoist and Ray Parlour on TalkSport Breakfast at 6 a.m. 3-hour show, because at 9 o'clock we start our build-up to Wales against Iran with Hugh Woozencroft, along with Nigel Adley and Dean Saunders, your commentary team. And then Qatar, Senegal and the Netherlands against Ecuador are live on TalkSport 2 at 1 and 4 p.m. respectively on TalkSport 2, before back to TalkSport for England against the USA, 7 p.m. kickoff. Adrian Durham, Jim Talbot, Stuart Pearce and Al Bite for that game. But there's still 20 minutes to play here between Portugal and Ghana, and it's going to form the 9th ranked FIFA team leading the lowest ranked team in the tournament.
Hasn't really looked that way. No, it hasn't looked that way at all for me. I feel like we expected Portugal to be a lot better.
Ronaldo turns the ball round the corner, asking Felix to give chase, but that's good defending by Salisu. And Atizigi can clear up to halfway. Partey gets above Guerrero, but it's adjudged to be a Ghana throw. In actual fact, looked like a clear one-header. Suleiman Tari, I can see in the crowd. Is that Kolo Toure with him?
Yeah.
You never tell the brothers apart. But Suleiman Tari, of course, played for Ghana at a World Cup whilst he was playing his trade for teams like Portsmouth in the Premier League. A fierce shot on him, I remember. He could unleash an extraordinary effort from way out. They can do with something like that right now, Ghana. They're 1-0 down. Now, the ball comes forward from Amate. Kudus takes aim, and it's patted down by Diogo Costa inside his 6-yard box. On target from Mohamed Kudus, straight down the throat of the keeper, but it was too hot to handle initially. Yeah,
it was a fantastic strike from Kudus, and from my sources I've heard, Ian, that the ball doesn't have much grip on it this time round in the World Cup, so a lot of goalkeepers have been practicing in training and they can't keep hold of the ball. So it seems like that one was a pretty bread and butter in the end. The ball did move in the end, but good strike from Kudus. I think he's been brilliant.
And it's Kudus again inside the area, gets to the byline, pulls it across. Ayew! It's 1-1! Andre Ayew, the old stager, levels it for Ghana. With just over a quarter of an hour to go, the two men who faced each other when these two teams played at 2014 in Brazil have scored. Ronaldo's penalty cancelled out by Ayew. Kudus, the creator, it got through a couple of players' legs, and Ayew, 2 yards out, couldn't miss. Portugal won, Ghana won.
Yeah, that completely came from nowhere. I mean, absolutely brilliant. We've spoken a lot about Kudus during this game. I thought Ruben Diaz should have done better here. You know, he should have got across the player, but Kudus gets there, and, you know, Ayew puts it in the back of the net. Really, really good. Danilo made a mistake though. The ball went through his legs. He looked like he could have stepped across, but they were completely, like, fair play to Ghana, because Portugal haven't been at their best, but the fearlessness, and Jordan Ayew's barely had a sniff in this game, but stayed in the centre of the goal. Ball comes to him, Kudus plays a really good ball across, and fantastic in the end. Ghanaian, to be in this stadium when the ball went in the back of the net, and when we can see Suleiman Tari on our monitors, and the fans are going absolutely crazy, even some of the journalists in the media area. And this is what the World Cup's all about, genuinely. The complete underdog, the most lowest ranked team in this tournament, have just scored against Portugal, and, you know, fair play to them. They've been really good in this second half and showed fearlessness that I spoke about other teams have shown.
And here they come again with Mohamed Kudus just ahead of the centre circle, plays it out to the right hand side, but good defending from Guerrero. So Andre Ayew draws level with Asamoah Gyan on World Cup goals, and that is the first goal scored by an African nation at this World Cup, and it's taken till almost right at the end of the first round of group stage games for that to happen. So what are the final 16 minutes here on TalkSport? Well, don't go anywhere, anything could happen, I reckon. Leanne Sanderson and Ian Dancer with you. Ayew gets his 24th international goal on his 109th appearance for Ghana. What a moment for him. Now, how do Portugal respond?
Well, they have to. I think they've been I don't think they've played as well as they potentially can, but ultimately, you know, you have to get out of here with a win. You can't be drawing games against teams like Ghana, but fair play to Ghana. They probably watched all the other teams. They've seen Japan do it, they've seen Saudi Arabia do it, Morocco, yes they drew with Croatia, but nobody expected that to happen. So you can watch these games and take a lot of confidence from the fact that if you show up and show fearlessness, then anything can happen, and they fair play to Ghana. They've been defensively really good, and Portugal just haven't really shown a lot in the final third.
Quarter of an hour to go on TalkSport. Portugal won, Ghana won. Here's Rafael Guerrero for Portugal. Just lays it off to Bruno Fernandes. Carvalho. Another change being ready down beneath us by Portugal. Rafael Leao will be on in a minute. João Felix goes down theatrically inside the box. as he went up for a ball with Lanti. Nothing doing for a penalty that time. And the change is going to be made, and it's very attacking change from Fernando Santos, because Rafael Leao of Milan rather, is going to come on. Made his debut a year ago, scored 14 goals in Milan's title win last season, and he's coming on to replace João Cancelo. That's an intriguing change, Leanne Sanderson.
Absolutely, to say the least. Is he really coming off, João Cancelo?
Well, Kudus has come off as well, incidentally, to be replaced by Osman Bukhari, who we mentioned earlier, who has been ready to come on.
That's a strange substitution.
Yeah.
Kudus has been absolutely brilliant. Got the assist, he's been really, really good. So the assister and the goal scorer are both coming off, and he's been replaced by his brother. But Kudus has been absolutely brilliant. Jordan Ayew's into this game now, so it shows you they think they can go for it. And why not? I mean, Portugal look like they're there for the taking. They really do. They don't look like they're at it at all. And Ruben Neves has come off. João Cancelo's still on.
Oh, yeah, he is indeed. So Kudus and Andre Ayew off, Jordan Ayew and Bukhari on for Ghana. With 14 minutes, we'll have 13 minutes left here at the 974 Stadium, live on TalkSport at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Now here's João Felix inside the area, gets it past the keeper, and Portugal are back in front. João Felix, as the ball was suddenly rolled down the right-hand side of the area, Ghana went to sleep, and João Felix pounced and clipped it neatly past Atizigi, and Ghana were on terms for a very short period of time. João Felix takes the acclaim. It's Portugal 2, Ghana 1.
It's a really good finish for João Felix. I've been quite critical of him in the first half, but you know, I feel like the ball for Bruno Fernandes potentially could have also been cut out from Selesu in there. I feel like it was a good ball from Bruno in between the centre-back. Maybe they're going to check. No, they're not going to check. It looked like his foot might have potentially been, but it's a good finish in the end. I was almost thinking he was going to square it to Cristiano Ronaldo, but fair play to João Felix. Not played a lot of football this season, and he's in the right place, and it's a good finish from that position, from the angle, to be able to get that in. Really good finish, and it took one opportunity where Bruno Fernandes has been able to play the intricate ball through the outs for the full-back in between the centre-back, and you know, they've come to punish them. But this game isn't over. Portugal haven't showed, that's probably the only bit of quality that they've really shown in that area, and it shows you what can happen, and fair play to João Felix.
Well, he was in good goal scoring form just before the World Cup. He'd scored 4 in 4 before this tournament. That's his 4th international goal, João Felix, and it's put Portugal back in front with 12 minutes to go. Huge disappointment for the Ghanaians as the ball floats over the head of Bukhari and straight through to the goalkeeper Diogo Costa. 2-1 then to Portugal, and Ruben Neves has finally gone off to be replaced by Rafael Leao. So it wasn't Cancelo in the end who was hooked, although that was the number I initially saw on the boards down beneath us.
I'd have been surprised if they would have taken him off, but he hasn't been great. He hasn't been the João Cancelo we know for City.
Well, here comes Bruno Fernandes. It's 4-on-3 for Portugal. Fernandes tries to slip it in, and Rafael Leao makes it 3-1. Goodness me, he's only been on the pitch a matter of seconds, and he extends Portugal's lead with a very cool finish down the left-hand side of the penalty area. Fernandes carried the ball forward, Ghana backpedaling. He just slipped it calmly down the inside left part of the penalty area, and Rafael Leao did the rest. Super finish. Portugal 3, Ghana 1.
Yeah, great finish. It almost looked like it potentially could have been his first touch in the game, but Bruno Fernandes had a situation here where they had a complete overload. Portugal, they were definitely coming at them. It's the first time we've seen them caught in a 4v3, and it was all about Bruno Fernandes making the right decision, and he did. Rafael Leao puts it in the back of the net. He looked over to the linesman, he looked to see if he was offside. It's a really good finish, but again there was options in the box as well. What I liked about what Portugal did and what they've done in the last 10 minutes, they seem to have stepped up a little bit. They seem to be attacking with all the players that we know they can. Bernardo Silva's higher up the pitch, Ruben Neves has gone off the pitch, you know, Carvalho's come into the game, he's now sitting in that position, so fair play to them. But I feel for Ghana. We saw scenes on the big screen before of, you know, Ayew coming off the pitch, they were celebrating as if to say it's still a draw, and now, you know, he's obviously, we see him throwing his water bottle down, Jordan Ayew on the bench. Andre Ayew, sorry.
Just over 2 minutes between Portugal's second and third goals, and Rafael Leao lacks a quick goal. He once scored Serie A's fastest ever goal after 6 seconds for Milan against Sassuolo.
Well, he's obviously a great sub to bring on, and a great super sub, instant impact for Portugal. I feel for Ghana though, I really do, because they've tried everything.
9 minutes to go. Portugal 3, Ghana 1 on TalkSport. Don't forget, we're off to the Lusail Stadium next. Brazil-Serbia will be our final commentary of the evening. Adrian Durham, Joe Shannon, Dean Ashton will bring you that commentary, and then 4 more games tomorrow after TalkSport breakfast with Alan, Ali and Ray Parler. Wales, Iran at 10 a.m. tomorrow, followed by Qatar, Senegal and Netherlands, Ecuador on TalkSport 2 at 1 and 4, and then England against United States back on TalkSport at 7 p.m. And if you want to hear Jim White and Simon Jordan, they're on at the slightly later time tomorrow of 1 till 3 on TalkSport after our coverage of Wales against Iran. Ghana trying to do something to get back into this game. They had 2 goals adrift, remember. 8 minutes to go, and Ronaldo bends his run to stay onside, rolls the challenge to the defender, tries to chip the keeper, and Ati-Zigi did really well, and now the flag goes up for offside against Ronaldo, and it's a free kick to Ghana. But Ronaldo wasn't to know that, and he couldn't score.
No, I actually thought it was offside originally. Obviously they have to let the phase of play out, but he went to dink the goalkeeper, which I was quite... Now it doesn't really matter, but he didn't know he was offside. He didn't know he was offside at all.
Picked up by Thomas Partey for Ghana by the centre circle. Lamptey calling for it. Instead it's gone for the forward to Bakari. Now Lamptey has it, level with the edge of the area, right hand side. Ayew's in the box. Lamptey goes again down the right hand side. One back by Rafael Leao. Oh, lovely touch, Ronaldo. And then it's knocked forward by Carvalho to João Felix. Tries to step inside Salisu, but Salisu does well and wins the ball back. Lamptey just keeps it away from a couple of challenges. Felix has stayed down.
I thought that was
the
good.
referee gives him gets the physios on to give him some treatment.
I mean, he did catch him. It was Salisu defended it really well. He did catch him slightly. It was no intention in that at all. I thought he did well to get his body across, but those ones potentially do hurt. But I feel like João Felix, he'll be okay. Doesn't really need to stay down for this one, I don't think.
He was just caught by a flailing arm, which didn't really catch him that flush on the chin or on the jaw. But he stayed down for a moment anyway, João Felix. But he's back up. And Ghana getting back on with the game, but they're running out of time here. 6 minutes of normal time to play. 3 more substitutes being ready by Portugal down beneath us, just to rest some weary legs maybe ahead of other tests to come. They've got Uruguay to come at the Lusail Stadium where we're off to next. That's on November 28th, and then South Korea at Al Rayyan on December 2nd, whilst Ghana are up against South Korea next at the Al Rayyan Stadium. South Korea drew 0-0 with Uruguay earlier today in this group. Now here's Bakari down the left hand side, works it back to Partey. Amate up to the edge of the area, look, flick round the corner attempted by Samed, but Portugal win it back. Fernandes threads it through to the halfway line and driven downfield by Felix, trying to find Ronaldo, but it was gobbled up by the Ghanaian defence, who were back in numbers. Now the ball is out on the left hand side
I thought that was good play from Guerrero there when he was able to intercept the ball and kind of get things going.
Yep.
I don't think things have even clicked for Portugal yet, which is quite frightening, the fact that they're going to end this game winning it pretty comfortably. But there was a spell in the game where it never looked like that. It didn't look like they were going to win this game. The momentum completely changed in the space of a couple of minutes. A couple of substitutions from Ghana that I felt like were going to make them better almost hindered them a little bit.
5 minutes to go, 3-1 Portugal lead, and Bruno Fernandes just teases the ball out to the left-hand side for Leao, who scored the third just seconds after coming on as a substitute. And he has possession again, just shy of the halfway line. Just drops the shoulder to get away from one man, flicks it in field to Cristiano Ronaldo. He gives it back to Leao. Ball around the corner from Bruno Fernandes, looking for his captain. But again, Ghana get it clear. And now Bruno Fernandes takes control just shy of the halfway line. Bernardo Silva driving through the centre circle. Has options right and left, goes to Cancelo to his right. Now playing in a sort of a right wing position at the moment. Now he drops in field as the ball's back with Danilo. Carvalho, lovely ball into the edge of the centre circle. Fernandes floats it down the left wing, looking for Rafael Leao, but his touch let him down that time. And here comes the treble change for Portugal. And João Palhinha of Fulham is the first player to come on. Cristiano Ronaldo's also coming off, so that Gonçalo Ramos of Benfica can come off, and also Bernardo Silva is being withdrawn. So João Felix, Bernardo Silva and Cristiano Ronaldo go off. And along with João Palhinha and Gonçalo Ramos, Jean Mario, also at Benfica, gets a run with his distinctive shaven head for these last few minutes. I think he's just resting a few legs out there, Leanne Sanderson, isn't he?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, the game is now wrapped up. It almost became a formality, but there was a time where it didn't look like a formality. Ghana, fair play to them, and they've really tried in this second half, and I feel for them because Portugal just showed their quality, being clinical. I still think the penalty decision wasn't the correct one, and I think that changed the game quite a lot. But then fair play to Ghana with Kudus, and I hope they came back into the game. But I think Portugal have just shown the possession for Portugal has been amazing. They possessed the ball really well, but then being direct, I don't think they've been direct enough tonight, but they'll be happy with this result. They really will be.
We're into the last 2 minutes of normal time, and it remains Portugal 3, Ghana 1, with Brazil, Serbia coming straight off the back of this game. Chance for Ghana to get forward down the left-hand side of the box. Jordan Ayew looking for Bakary. Oh, they are back in it. It's 3-2. And a sue from Osman Bakary to taunt Portugal as they get back within a goal of La Seleção. Jordan Ayew lobbed the ball to the far post. Free header for Bakary, and he planted it firmly home.
Yeah,
Portugal 3, Ghana 2.
It was a great ball, from Jordan Ayew down the left-hand side, and Bakary, I mean, in the end, he was just there on his own. They switched off, and everyone's like, Ruben Diaz is shouting, but they just left him. Bakary was there at the far post. Talk about impact subs. Both subs have come into this game and scored instantly. So we'll have to yet to be determined how long's left, but we'll have to wait and see. And Bakary doing the sue, I mean, that just doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Only his second international goal, Osman Bakary, who, as I mentioned, plays for Crvena Zvezda. You might know them as Red Star Belgrade. And it's made this game interesting once again on TalkSport, with the game edging towards added time. That went in the last minute of normal time. And now there's a foul on halfway by William Carvalho, who's squaring up to Daniel Amate, and the referee's having to get between a number of players who are getting involved in a bit of pushing and shoving. It will be Ghana's free kick once everything settles down, but it's all a bit unseemly down there. 3-2 Portugal lead. They haven't won it yet.
At half-time, I don't think either of us, Ian, thought this game would end, and it doesn't look like it's going to end yet, but 3-2. I mean, so much action, and I think the referees actually handled this situation quite well. I really do, because there's been a lot of players trying to get involved, but I thought the referee's done a relatively good job tonight, apart from I still don't think it was a penalty. I really don't. I don't think the first one was a penalty, and I think that those types of things can change the game. I'm not quite sure. I'll be interested to know what a lot of people think about this afterwards, because I don't think it was a penalty at all.
Yellow cards for Williams and for Danilo for scrapping on the halfway line. We just moved into 9 minutes of additional time here at the 974 stadium. 9 minutes at least to play on here with a score at 3-2. And Ghana are readying a double change. Bristol City fans, listen up. Antoine Semenyo's coming on for the Black Stars. As a free kick sent up to the edge of the Portugal area, Salisu tries to help it on. Jordan Ayew there too. Cleared away, comes out to the middle of the Portuguese half. It's worked back to the halfway line. Partey just puts it back into the danger area, and it goes behind off Salisu, who stayed forward. Portugal goal kick. 3-2 to La Seleção. Leanne Sanderson.
This is why football is such an amazing game, because I'm sure the Portuguese players before the game did not expect that they'd be holding on in this game, you know, with a 3-2 scoreline. I'm sure they didn't expect that, but Ghana, they've been absolutely brilliant, especially in this second half. I think in the first half it was more the fact that Portuguese couldn't quite convert any type of chance. They weren't being clinical enough in front of goal. They weren't really getting in amongst it. I think a lot of individual players like João Cancelo haven't had their best game, and ultimately if they get out of this with a win, they'll be happy with that. But I don't think Portugal played their best, and fair play to Ghana. They've shown that fearlessness that I've spoken a lot during this tournament that can help if you are like that, but I'm sure Portugal did not expect to be holding on. And 9 minutes, you jinxed us, Ian, because at the first half you said there'll probably be a lot in the second half, because we only had 2 at the end of the first half, but we've seen this being quite a common theme, and there have been a lot of substitutions, but I'm sure Portugal didn't imagine they'd be holding on during this game, because they are.
2 more just made by Ghana, bringing on Antoine Semenyo of Bristol City and also Daniel Kofi Kiere of Freiburg. Now the ball's at the edge of the area with Tariq Lamptey. Tries to swing it across for Semenyo. Just goes behind for a goal kick. Overhit by Lamptey, with Semenyo pulling away to a good position at the back post. Stays 3-2 Portugal.
Tariq Lamptey also could have played Bakari there as well, and he's telling him, you know, just give me the ball, because he would have been in down this right hand side. He really would have been. So it wasn't the correct decision from Tariq Lamptey, but there's still a lot of time in these additional minutes left, so we'll be looking for them to do a lot more of that, Ghana, to put it in the box. Anything can happen. Be direct. One ball can make a difference, because Portugal haven't looked really that assured. They've looked assured when it comes to possessing the ball in the middle areas, but they haven't really looked that comfortable at the back or in the attack.
Bruno Fernandes, left-hand side, right in front of his manager, Fernando Santos. Tries to jig down that left-hand side. It's pushed over by Bakari. It'll be a free kick to Portugal. And they're taking their time, and the referee's already had a go at Diogo Costa for taking his time and having a chat with the defender rather than spotting the ball down for the goal kick. So there may be more than the minimum 9 that have been added on by the American referee here at the 974. We've played, by my reckoning, 3 of those minutes. And a poor free kick from Portugal, given straight back to Ghana, and Jordan Ayew gets it worked up to the halfway line. Good challenge by William Carvalho to keep it away from Kofi Kiere, who's just on. Now here's Rafael Leao into the area. Oh, he had Gianmario in acres of space, tried to find him, and it was just intercepted in the nick of time by the Ghanaian defence. Now they're trying to break downfield, but the ball's overhit for Semenyo. But then Diogo Costa makes a right Horlicks of it, trying to get it clear. And then Danilo hits it straight to Bakari, who's fouled, and Portugal are losing their discipline at just the wrong moment. 3-2 up.
Yeah, I thought that was really good play from Rafael Leao down this left-hand side, and I actually thought it was a really good interception from Ghana. I think Leao made the right decision, but certainly shaky these last, moments of this match for Portugal. Bruno Fernandes had to take one for the team. They pick up an unnecessary yellow card because, Costa has done a pretty poor decision in his pass from the back line.
Gianmario now breaks away for Portugal. Driven across to Rafael Leao at the edge of the area, tries a right-footed shot, it's blocked, and away come Ghana. Kofi Kiere is dispossessed. Good work back by Paulinho in the midfield there. And now Guerreiro teases it infield to William Carvalho, middle of the Ghana half. In stoppage time on TalkSport. Portugal 3-2 up, but not... Well, they're making heavy weather of it, Leanne Sanderson.
Yeah, they've got a better game management. I mean, Bruno Fernandes there is taking the ball down his left-hand side. They just need to calm down. I mean, they're 3-2 up. Yes, they didn't expect to be holding on to a lead against Ghana, the lowest-ranked team in the competition, but see out the game, get the win. There's no need to try and get another one. Just keep it in there. There's only a few minutes to go. So that's what they're looking to do, I think, now. Possess the ball in this in the corner flag and hopefully keep it down there and then see it out. Wow, that Bruno Fernandes
just whacked it against Tariq Lamptey from about half a yard away from him.
That wasn't the nicest at all. I mean, I know you've got to do game management, but I don't think it was necessary for him to blast the ball at him.
There's winning a throw, and then there's winning a throw like that. Anyway, it is a throw for Guerreiro, down by the corner flag. They're trying to keep it at the Ghanaian end. They give it possession just for a moment, and then Paulinho is robbed. Kofi Kieré won't get hold of the loose ball. It's back with Bruno Fernandes. Now Paulinho and Guerreiro. Carvalho teases it down the left-hand side of the box. Ramos is there, goes to ground, and he was pushed. And Portugal have a free kick right on the dead ball line next to the corner flag, down to our left-hand side. 3-2, Portugal lead. And we are playing 9 minutes of added time. I reckon we've had 6 or 7 of those up to this point, looking at my stopwatch.
That was clever play from Ramos. Amate can complain all he wants, but he pushed him, and in that situation, seeing out the game, they're always going to go down.
Free kick into the area. Ati Ziggy makes a bit of a meal of it, palming it down, but Ghana win it back and are desperate to get it down the other edge of the field. Jordan Ayew lays it off. Daiku was one of the players that went off, so too went Samid. Now Ayew making a strong run down the left-hand side, forces Cancelo to come across and whack it into those supporters on the far side. Quickly taken throw by Ghana, 3 in the box for a cross. It's into the roof of the net in the end. Just a goal kick, and it was Bakari who scored the second goal, who just, I'm not sure whether he was trying a shot on goal there, Leanne, or whether he was just helping it into an area, but almost caught Diogo Costa out. 3-2.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad effort in the end from Bakari, and it all came from Bruno Fernandes. They won the free kick, Amate gave it away. Instead of Bruno Fernandes, I know it's boring football, I used to hate it as a player when they're holding it in the corner flag, but you've got to do what you've got to do. Bruno Fernandes puts it in the box, and then it ends up Ghana came back on the attack, so they just need to see out this game now and be calm.
Seconds to go at the 974 stadium, and Ghana have to give Portugal a throw. They want it themselves, but Guerreiro knows it's his and just walks at a slow pace just in front of his manager Fernando Santos at the edge of his technical area, midway point of the Ghana half, down this near side of Portugal left, flicked on by Rafael Leao, but out for a goal kick. And Ati Ziggy's got to get on with it. The Ghanaian goalkeeper places it down quickly. Whistles start to go up from the Portuguese fans around this stadium. They think time is up. It almost is. Ghana trying to get the ball down to the other end of the field. The goal kick sent down by Ati Ziggy, headed back into the Ghana half. Poor touch from Salisu, but he's helped out by a fellow defender and keeps it in play. Finds Arsenal's Thomas Partey. Good skill from Partey. Kofi Kieré just steps away from a couple of challenges. Out to the left-hand side. Ghana have got 4 forward for a cross. It's overhit, I think, and well claimed by Diogo Costa. Bakari and Semenyo closing on him, but the cross was hit too deep, and a comfortable claim.
Yeah, good from Costa there in the end. Good claim, because those situations.
Oh, it's given away by Diogo Costa, and Inaki Williams tries to drive it goalwards. He went down wanting a penalty. What on earth was Diogo Costa doing inside his penalty area? Tried to be clever and almost paid for it. But at the other end, here come Portugal with Bruno Fernandes playing in Leao again down the left-hand side of the box, but he can't get the shot on target. And I wonder whether VAR will check what happened when Inaki Williams went to ground, as Diogo Costa had a moment to forget inside his own penalty area.
What's funny, Ian, I actually saw Williams there. I did see him, and it reminded me of when Dion Dublin did that way back in the day. Costa, Williams didn't do anything wrong. Costa should have been aware he was behind him.
Well, the full-time whistle has gone, and Portugal have edged out Ghana in a 5-goal thriller here at the 9-7-4. Very nearly 3-3 at the end when Inaki Williams stole behind Diogo Costa, Dion Dublin style, but couldn't quite get the ball on target with a shot. Portugal survived to earn all 3 points. Cristiano Ronaldo scores at his 5th World Cup, becomes the first ever player to do so. He got Portugal on their way with a penalty. Andre Ayew equalised for 1-1 before Jean Felix and Rafael Leao thought they'd settled matters, only for Bukhari to head home for 3-2. And there were nervous moments for Portugal in the closing stages, but they hold out. At least an African nation has now scored at these championships, but we still await a first African win at these championships. Full time at the 9-7-4 stadium. Portugal 3, Ghana 2.